So just before this Zoom meeting, Alice and I were on the phone discussing stories. And honestly, some of these stories can be pretty intense. I suffered from depression 40 plus years, pretty much my whole life. I mean, I always felt something was off from the time I was a little kid, but of course I couldn't put my finger on it. But
Did you take drugs for it? Yeah, medications?
yeah, I tried all the, was it Prozac and all those antidepressants, and none of them worked. Yeah. And it was kind of a revelation when I realized that that had become my identity. I'm this depressed person. It's not fair. I could do so much more with my life. And it was a victim story, but it's bodily. You really do feel like a victim. I mean, it's convincing performance. So instead of trying to escape the depression, all I did was look for the owner. So I stopped denying it. I go, yeah, I feel depressed. Okay. So who's that? Let me find the victim. So that's the beauty of this message. There's no denial. You're not denying what you're feeling. What you're feeling is exactly what you're feeling. But is there really a separate entity in that body? Is there really a separate being who that depression belongs to? Or is there just a depression, a feeling of depression arising, but lo and behold, when looked for, there actually isn't anyone it's appearing to? That was the assumption. Oh, this depression must be mine. So you can think about any stories that you may hold near and dear, your sacred stories that are so personal. Those are limitations. Every story is a limitation. What you are doesn't have a story. But I don't want to gloss over it. If somebody's feeling, no, Michael, this is all well and good, but this is an exception. Mine's, let's take a look. Who is the owner of that story? Can that one be found? Really? Let me say it like this. For a long time, I used to think that my first kiss with my first sweetheart was somehow a special golden moment and I could try and recapture it somehow if I could fall in love again. And it wasn't until I realized, oh, that original experience was never mine. I had assumed that that was me there with the girl, that there was an actual Michael there as a separate entity who had the experience and then could fantasize about going back and reliving it over and over and over. And it's just imagination all happening in you.
Okay, I'll have to share. We had this discussion, Michael and I, and as most of you know, Nkosi and I speak once a week, and then Michael makes a nice YouTube out of them and puts them out on his YouTube channel, and it's wonderful. Anyway, I think I'm a person in this world most of the time, and I believe I have a story about having PTSD, and I had mentioned it to Nkosi on Saturday night, and that was part of what was published on Sunday, or whatever Mike put it out. And I felt that was too personal to be put out on a public YouTube. I think if I'm going to put out something about Michael Jeffrey's depression, perhaps I should ask Michael before I put it out for the world to see. That's just a courteous thing to do. So that's where we had a little misunderstanding here, that I didn't maybe feel that should be put out there. So I'm just putting the honest truth out. So he and I had a discussion about that. So I thought he was not using discernment or discretion somehow. And I guess I would have preferred that he asked me if he can put that out. So that's what our discussion was about, right, Michael?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Alice. And my response was, well, I had a good run, because 29, I did good, 29 Nkosi Alice videos, never a problem. So even Babe Ruth struck out a lot. So number 30, Alice feels, let's look at it, Alice. I'm so glad you brought this up. Thank you. She feels that there was just one sentence, Alice, where you had mentioned somehow the word PTSD was mentioned, but right. And so
yeah, it's just a scar. It's just feels like a scar with me somehow, that I'm defective, and it contains a lot of meaning, and most people don't even know what that is, and they're. In my life, when I've discussed it, no one has understood what that really means. And maybe we can't know what cancer means until we experience it. I don't know. But anyway, I have a sore about it, and that's why I talked to you about it. So so we probably all have sores somewhere about something. I don't know, in our current history or background. So this is open for discussion. Well, I talked to Nkosi about it this week because it had bothered me such, and I had also disclosed to Michael, because we aren't supposed to suppress anything either. If we feel something as a person, we still discuss it. And we don't pretend everything is this when we really aren't really feeling that. So again, everything is okay, and it's okay to discuss it. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong, but it was highly encouraged for me not to suppress anything. So hence the discussion with Michael was generated, because I felt I was suppressing if I wouldn't have talked to him. So we agreed just bring it up tonight and put it out there.
Yeah. So let's look, right? Because I know the story is, but the first thing that my first thought about it, Alice, and this is why I said, let's talk here, is if something is not true, does it matter if you believed it 50 years or 50 seconds? If something's not true, does it matter if you believed it 50 years or 50 seconds, if it's not true?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So what's here right now that doesn't have a story?
Everything's a story, is it not? I mean, when we use our mind and words, that's what defines, is it not? Is that's what defines this this dualistic world, this world that everyone subscribes to.
Well, this is where if the belief is that it's real, then what is reality itself gets covered over, because I take my story to be real. I'm real. So that's reality to me. So thus I don't see reality, even though it's right here.
You can't see reality.
Well, because I'm too lost in the story of me and how I'm going to get out of my, predicament.
So if you could get out of your, so if you could totally acknowledge that it isn't, it is just a description in words, then what's left over may be the real. But the real can't be seen because it doesn't exist in this world of thoughts, of ideas, of thinking. That's a big challenge for me, how to reconcile that.
Well, you can't, there, good luck.
There's no reconciliation of that.
No.
That's true. But nevertheless, it's confusing.
I really appreciate your question. If I'm not, I'm probably interrupting him here because I see now what difference would it make if it was 51 years or a minute or 5 seconds, because every second I'm recreating that story and it's long gone, but I have established a continuity of that. So whenever I think about it, as I was triggered on when I heard it, but it's not real. I went for most of the day not, I didn't think about it really much again. But it was something I did need to discuss with you. And now that we've talked about it and we're all talking about it, I feel a lot freer because I see that each thought and I'm creating time with every thought I have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, Alice, though, you're not having the thoughts.
That's right.
That's what we're pointing to.
Yes.
Every thought I have is the me, reporting on the story. So that's all together in the story.
Yes.
And that's going to go on, but the story isn't happening to anyone, not you or not anybody.
That's very clear. Thanks, Dan. And thank you, Michael, for encouraging me to bring it up.
Thank you for bringing it up.
The part of the story that is of particular interest here is the story is also what will other people think about me? Like
Oh, yeah.
it's the key. It's a big story that happens a lot when I step out into the world. A lot of projections about how I may be perceived by other people, and it's very stifling actually in self-expression to make these projections and to recognize that it's really, I mean, it's a total fiction. It's fiction what we do about ourselves, but it's even more fiction about how it, you know, everybody is going to create a story about my story, and so a lot of stories going to flare around pretty quick.
That's the story of the story. You just told it perfectly. And that's the me. The me is going to experience that. And the me is always, no matter what story comes up, the me is never going to be, you know, completely cool with everything and not caring about anything, because that's not what the me is. Me is. The me is this limited construction that is threatened by a story, even if it's strong and healthy and, you know, the best possible me you could imagine, is still going to be in that position of looking out for the threat and trying to protect itself, because that is what the me is. And it,
Looking out for the threat and also looking out for approval, you know,
exactly.
wanting to be liked and
Yes.
respected
Well,
and loved and
right. Trying to fill myself up with everything good and trying to keep everything bad away. And there's a million different stories of that, but that's just the basic thing. But that's not going to change, because that is the me's experience. You know, it's like the me isn't going to get so you know, have so much understanding and be so healthy that it does, that this problem goes away. It doesn't work that way.
yeah, right. And so in the medical or in the world where diagnoses are being made about, you know, what we have or not have, the question, you know, a term that comes to mind is the allegation that if you just tell yourself that it's just a story and the me doesn't really exist, then in some circles that would be diagnosed as spiritual bypass. And you know, there some argumentation is being made that one has to somehow work with these things, and one can't just say they're not real. It wouldn't be enough, you know.
I have something to say about that if you'd like me to come, Peter.
Yep.
Come on in, Michael.
Yeah, I've heard that before, and oh, nice. That was better than my answer. Be is about as useful.
About time we had a little music around here.
That was great.
All right.
Is that you, Anton? No.
Who is that?
Who's our mystery strummer? Oh, Roy.
I was just moving it off the desk.
But actually, that's it. That's what I want to talk about. That, no, really, that that noise, this is it. Like whatever's happening right now, exactly as it's happening. So sitting in your chair, moving, asking questions, listening, scratching, taking a sip of water, whatever.
Yeah. It's just this.
Yeah. But this doesn't play favorites. And as Dan will, I'm sure, remind us, the me does. The me is made of favorites and likes and dislikes. I favor this, I don't care for this.
The question that just came up was, it feels very peaceful, very serene. And then the words came up, is this enough? You know, what if this was just enough? What if there wasn't any more than this? That feels very kind of liberating. If there wasn't anything more to be gotten or discovered or explained or understood.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've written down a quote. I don't know where I got it from, but it was meaningful to me. It was a question that says, what's wrong with now if you don't think about it?
Oh, Sailor Bob.
Oh, is it? Right.
Yeah.
Well, that ties in with what Peter's talking about, in my view.
Yeah, very good, Faith. Yeah, a fellow Aussie, Sailor Bob. Yeah, what's wrong with right now unless you think about it? So it turns out that there's nothing to think about.
Hi, Nkosi.
Hi, Nkosi.
Hi, hello, Michael. Hello, everyone.
Wait, what is that background? Where are you?
Ooh. I'm in my own place now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
it looks good.
He does look good. Wow. You're kind of glowing. Amazing.
Thank you.
He glows no matter what kind of background he has.
There you go. So we have a question. There's only what is, right? You've all heard that, right? There's only what is. How many times have you heard that? There's only what is. So what is?
Is.
What is has no description. It's beyond any description. Yet, what seems to be a description, it seems to appear in it. So this cannot be explained, and this cannot be gotten, and this cannot be understood, because there isn't anyone separate to understand it or get it. It's just it. If all there is this, then who can get it? Who can understand it? Who can become it? So there's already nothing here. There's nothing to do. And there's nowhere to go. Because there isn't anyone here to do anything. It's just this. No matter which shape or form it may appear to be, it's just this. It cannot be understood. It cannot be explained. It cannot be described. It's beyond words. This is wordless. Everything is this already. Talking is this. Thinking is this. Misunderstanding and understanding is this. So you can't go wrong with this because there's no you here. This message is not directed to a certain individual. This message is not, doesn't have any intention to make anyone liberated, because there isn't anyone here. It's just this. This message is just a message.
Mhm.
And there isn't anyone listening to it. And there isn't anyone looking for it. It's just this. It's the one who seems to be looking for it is just this, dreaming to be that one. There can never be any separate individual who wants to know this. It can only be this appearing as an individual, trying to get this. So already, even in the midst of searching, even in the midst of misunderstanding, there's just this. It's this already. So the one who seems to be searching, looking for this, is actually going nowhere because it doesn't even exist. And when that recognition seems to happen, it is seen that that one never existed. It has always been this. So it doesn't really matter what seems to be individual may seem to do. That one is going nowhere because it doesn't exist. It's just a thought. So everything is okay, just the way it is. Even what seems to be not okay is okay. Because there isn't anything separate here. There's no separation. There are no individuals already. And here, there seems to be that okayness with everything. What seems to be everyone, it is seen that they are okay. Everyone is okay.
Yeah, I'd like to read a quote from one of my favorite books called Downloads from the Nine. If you've ever read this book before, it kind of goes along with what both Michael and Nkosi have been saying. And if anyone could comment on this, I was just kind of curious. So it goes, humans commit the terrible mistake of preferring a positive experience rather than a negative. This is a pendulum effect that feeds the ego. The ego is found dancing in between two opposed forces, originating from the spiritual heart. The spiritual heart is invaded and flooded with positive and negative emotions. Fear, anger, sorrow, insecurity, etc., coexist within their constant opposites, such as security, euphoria, joy, etc. So I was interested on anyone could comment on that, the pendulum effect of me as the alleged person preferring good experiences, supposed good experiences over bad experiences, and how does that feed personhood in a sense?
Well, I wouldn't say that it feeds personhood. I would say that is personhood. What you just describes the reality of the me and the me experience. Now, Nkosi was just saying that that's the way some, that can appear. That's one of the things that can appear, and everything can appear. But actually, everything is okay. So that perception that the me has, which is everything is not okay, is exactly the perception of the me. And it's a reality that can and does appear, as we see. We're all aware of that. And that's the story of, like I was just saying, pushing away the bad things and trying to get the good things, and being attracted to what feels good and what is, what's good, and keeping the bad away. That's the experience of the me. And when me hears what Nkosi is just saying, it can't do anything with it. It can't understand everything is okay. But that's fine. That's okay. It's just part of what is showing up. And so the me will hear that and will struggle with it. And as Peter was saying a while ago, you know, this is another thing that can happen. A person, a me, and within the me reality, a me can hear this kind of message and be very attracted to it and try to take it on as an idea to use as part of its strategy of getting rid of the bad things and getting the good things. So it will take on this idea of everything is okay and everything is, but it's just as an idea. And that can be a problem, as Peter was, kind of pointing out or asking about. I mean, I think that does happen. It's another phenomenon that can happen, another way that the me energy can show up. But again, that's just another thing showing up. So it's not really, it doesn't really apply to anything. It doesn't really relate to what is actually real. Because what's actually real has nothing to do with the me and its story, or anybody having a story of good or bad, or anyway. So anybody else have a comment on all this? It's important, good stuff. Peter, your mic.
On a very fundamental level, good and bad starts when there is somebody there to judge and to have preferences and to have goals and yes, it's very popular. We all want good. We want happiness and we don't want pain. And it's the concept that things are just what they are, neither happiness nor pain is a very tough concept. Dan would say for the me doesn't really, it's caught. Yeah, right.
Because how can you build a story? The story is built out of all these good and bad and right and wrong and here and there, all these distinctions. That's what we build, the me builds the story out of. So the me is in the story and the me is the story. It's like a little, I don't know, it's just a little kind of structure in nowhere for nothing, just showing up, just like everything is showing up.
It's a reference point. The me is the reference point.
Yes. And it's based in the body, the body has something going on with it, it needs to survive and flourish and all that. But that's, so, and then the story builds around that. But that has nothing to do with what is. What is not pegged to any point of view or any perspective on an experience. That's just building a story for no one. And that can become obvious. Because the story doesn't really hold up. It's not based in reality. It isn't real. And that can become obvious.
Michael had these two words about 2 weeks ago, obvious, and what was the other one?
Effortless.
Effortless. Effortlessly obvious.
Well, it was effortless because it's already the case.
Already happened.
Right? Or Nkosi, as you used to say, the thought is always late.
But from the me perspective, everything is an effort. Everything is all about effort. It's all about doing. But there isn't any effort. This is all here without any effort. It's just, it doesn't apply. There isn't any effort in what is actually really real, in this, what is the, there's no effort in having a room and people and whatever it all is, which we don't even know. Effort is an idea that comes from the story.
Yeah, in order to make an effort, somebody needs to definitely be there to make the effort.
Right. And you need movement, and you need objects, and you need all kinds of stuff, which is part of the story.
Intentions, goals.
Yeah. It's a good story. But none of that is actually here. None of it is. We can't say what is here. It's not anything, it's just everything. Nothing separate. And there's
Yeah,
nothing.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No,
I was
no.
just going to say, trees don't appear to make an effort to grow. They just grow, don't they? Sort of like that's an effortless thing. Maybe that's why we like being in nature, because there's no effort.
The same as the sun. The sun doesn't make any effort to shine.
Yeah.
Doesn't shine, shines.
Like I was caught in the story when we opened up, and where I have gotten confused, and I still sometimes do, is I hear all these things and I think I'm supposed to be doing all that stuff. And so I had this story going, and Nkosi also says not to repress the story, if I'm correct, Nkosi. I mean, if I feel I have to share the story, that's the effortless thing to do, is to share the story and not deny, even though it's in the personal dream, even though it's in the dream. So I feel a lot better having brought this out tonight and having talked with Michael about what we talked about, and I feel a lot freer of that PTSD. And he assured me I would, but I was still kind of afraid. The me was afraid to kind of expose it, but I feel a lot freer now because I didn't suppress it. So that's important for me to realize too. Otherwise, I'll just pretend, oh, it's just a story. It's just a story, and it's really just hanging there in the personal me hiding out.
Yeah, thank you, Alice, for sharing that. That's really, if I have a secret, a personal trauma that I don't want anyone in the world to know, oh my God, what is that? That sounds like hell.
Yeah, I didn't hear your personal trauma, Alice, because I came on late. I'd like to share mine. My car was stolen out of my garage last night. And I went down this morning and there was no car. So I thought I parked on the street, and I went up and down, and no, the car was taken out of my garage. And I think I'm in shock. I think the me is still in shock, but there's a lot of upset and fear coming up, and regret and sadness. I really love my car. And yeah, anyway, I mean, it's nothing like what's going on in Ukraine, but with people fleeing their homeland and being bombed. But it's very traumatic in this body. And I just am speaking it because you invited us to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, my experience of a traumatic thing. Oh, sorry, Peter.
No, I was just going to say, typically, I resonate. I feel empathy, Joyce, and at the same token, it's like this is what is, and you just shared what is for you in response to what you found.
Empathy is welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to share that I had what's traumatic event for me. I had an upsetting event, and my go-to, my addictive place is to immediately do something to repair that situation or to fix that situation. But I've recognized that's an anxiety response, and I need to just be with it. And so I was pleased with myself that I was able to be with it, and I didn't go rushing off to try to fix things. However, about 24, 48 hours later, I've got the mother of a cold. I really am really sick with a cold, and I don't normally get colds. So I'm sort of smiling because on one level, I was thankful that I could just be with it, but somehow my body reacted to it without me knowing.
Yeah. I don't know. I that's sort of have trouble with that in non-duality. I mean, and there's no me here, but there's still a human being who's suffering. And I think when someone shares their suffering, it's nice to offer empathy or understanding or even silence, meant well. And we're all suffering on some level. And it seems like in this group, and tell me if I'm wrong, there isn't a forum for that. I'm not talking about therapy. I'm talking about just saying, I'm hurting right now and I just want to be held by the group or get some empathy or something. Is that not a forum for this group? I mean, I've wondered that in the past. So now that I'm speaking about my trauma, I just like to ask that question. It's not an accusation, it's a question.
What comes up for me, Joyce, when you say that is you're making it clear that empathy feels good, and I would imagine, since this is an open forum, that making requests or asking and receiving would certainly fall within what's happening. Would be part of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's perfect. It can't be any other way.
But only if that's what this is happening, what's happening in this.
There's only this. So Joyce asking her question is exactly this. Joyce sharing her story, Peter offering empathy.
I offer empathy too. I could really hear her and I was thinking, wow. I mean, but I don't know if that's allowable either in this group too. So I have the same thing, Joyce. Yeah, I wouldn't like not finding my car in the morning.
No, it
It does
sucks.
feel that way. It does feel like it hasn't been allowed in the past, or maybe just people are uncomfortable speaking about, hey, I'm hurting here. I would like some empathy. Because that's what I really wanted, was empathy. And, oh, gee, I'm sorry, Joyce, or that was what I wanted. I wanted some support for my pain, not because I'm wallowing in it, but just because it's there.
Yeah. Well, that's why Nkosi said to Alice, and what she took him up on it, is nothing is suppressed. Right?
Yeah, I
So,
missed that, Alice. Sorry.
That's fine.
but no, so you're doing it beautifully. So however you're feeling, Joyce, is exactly, you can't go wrong. It's just. Yeah.
Oh, we shouldn't censor ourselves in the group. That's what you're saying.
No, because Nkosi instructs Alice all the time, nothing is suppressed. That's freedom.
So nothing is suppressed, but there's no me it's really happening to, or both true. Okay, that sounds fair. No, it sounds more authentic and human and divine at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
okay, on one level, there's nobody here and there never has been. On the other level, hey, there's a body here and a me here who's suffering and needs more bodies and people who to love. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel like that.
Oh, I feel better. Thank you. Me feels better.
Well, this made me kind of think about a speech that Eckhart Tolle gave a while ago when he was talking about like losing attachments to things. Like, I don't know if it was like something that happened to somebody else or like his Eckhart Tolle way of giving stories. He was talking about how this house burned down and he looks at it, his house is burning in flames and everything's all gone. And he's like, oh, well, I guess I don't have to do the dishes tonight.
Yeah, I've heard that story in various.
There's like he sees the good and it's only good things.
But Matt, so this is it, Joyce and Alice and all of us. It's so beautiful, right? Whether you do the nice little Eckhart Tolle, I don't have to do the dishes quip, or you're really, really pissed. That's your house. You just lost your house. You're angry. That's this too.
That's great.
Yeah, that was actually the first thing that came up, Joyce. I just felt so angry when you told your story about what happened.
Yeah, hurt is kind of repressed anger. I've been feeling more hurt. Yeah.
Hey, can you tell that story again? I came late.
Alice can feel her. We'll give you the cliff notes. Someone stole my car.
It'll be on the video.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. I can see the show later, right? Cool.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
I apologize for showing up late, guys. I was out walking and I got lost in my mind.
No problem.
Yeah, happens to the best of us.
I would like to say I'm sorry, Joyce.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry for what happened. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You'll be okay. You're
Yeah.
already okay.
I'm already okay. It's funny. I've been asking for less, trying to pare down and get rid of things and be more minimalistic. So we have to be careful what we ask for, huh? But thank you.
My car got stolen once. It did suck. And when they found it, the cops called and they said, would you like a picture of your car or would you like us to send you your car in the mail? Because there was nothing left of it.
Oh,
I know, I was heartbroken. I did get over it though, I can tell you that. But it was disturbing.
it's kind of shocking,
Yeah, no, it's definitely a shock. I know Joyce, remember when my car was broken into and they broke the window and took all of my chess sets?
Yeah, I remember.
Remember? And it was a shock when I walked out. I actually remember screaming. Like the shock of seeing the broken glass where I was used to seeing a car window was now shattered glass. And it took a second to process. So I just wanted to convey that however it comes out for you, however the experience is exactly how it's just exactly how it's supposed to be.
Appreciate this. You've helped me a lot because it's really a reminder of everything applied to a current suffering situation. It's really helpful.
I find it useful to label the feelings that I'm experiencing in those sorts of situations. And I'm thinking that if it was me and my car, somebody took it, the feeling would be I would feel violated.
Yeah.
Somebody's taken my personal stuff, and the feeling of violation is pretty awful.
Yeah. Thanks.
Mm.
Well, I'm really grateful that this week when I was going through my stuff, I got to talk to my friend Nkosi, and I felt such love, and that just enabled me to unfold. So like you say, Joyce, feeling love, feeling empathy, feeling all that stuff really, really helps. And it gave me the courage to do what I did, what I did. And I feel so much better now. And Michael and I have talked everything through and brought it up tonight, and it's just not an issue anymore. So, but being able to be met with that incredible love was just a huge part of it.
Nothing like it. It's just a reminder of who you are. Sometimes we can't see that.
All the time.
Yeah, sometimes wholeness can look like a stolen car. You would never guess it.
Like a song title.
Yeah, just watch the body go through the experience. You know, you can watch. You know, just allow, like Nkosi. Really, this not suppressing is so.
I was reminded, Michael, I was thinking of this of you when you told us about your COVID experience and how you couldn't get out of bed for 5 days. And I was thinking how you handled it, and, you know, you didn't get on the call and go, oh my God, I had COVID, and, you know, you didn't do that. You just told us, and you told us you were pissed, and you told us what happened. Hopefully you reached out to someone during it to help you, because any of us could have helped you. But I was thinking of you today and that experience.
Oh, thank you so much. Wow. Wow. What a meeting. Well, I think this meeting had a little bit of everything. Thank you, each and every one of you, for coming this evening. Nkosi, brother, thank you so much for coming in HD tonight. Good night, everybody. Thanks so much for coming.
One.
Right.
Bye,
Good night.
Michael. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.